Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday normally means Tier 1 Thursday, but we've run into a whole string of super sweet and fairly budget-friendly legacy decks lately. So this week, for our Thursday deck tech, we're heading to Legacy once again for not as budget-friendly as a deck that we've had over the last couple weeks, like $200, but $788 is still super cheap, especially since a lot of that money is going towards really good legacy staples. So this is Mono Blue Painter. Comes to us from Kayakawa Shun, who took it to a top 8 finish in the infamous Small Japanese Tournament, but congrats to Kayakawa on their finish with the deck. A quick reminder before we break down Mono Blue Painter for Legacy. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Mono Blue Painter is built around Painter's Servant, one of the most unique Magic cards ever printed. So you get a 2-mana 1/3, it's an artifact. When it comes into play, you get to choose a color, and everything is that color. Whether it's in play, not in play, whatever, it's the color that you choose. So you might be wondering, well, what do you do with Painter's Servant? And in this deck, the goal is to set up a game-winning and super efficient combo. So Grindstone is a really weird mill card. 1-mana artifact, you pay 3, you tap it, you mill 2, but if those cards share a color, you get to do it again, and do it again, and do it again, as long as the cards share a color. So what this means is, with a Painter Servant down, 1 Grindstone activation is going to mill our opponent's entire deck because everything's the same color. So Painter Servant comes down, we set everything on, let's say red, I think is the most common color. Activate Grindstone, 2 red cards, so it repeats. 2 red cards, so it repeats. Next thing you know, our opponent's entire library is emptied from just this 2-card combo. The last piece of this deck that's really important is Whir of Invention, which lets us find either combo piece. So at instant speed, we can find our Grindstone for just 4 mana, or even 3 mana thanks to Improvise, 5 mana, or even 3 mana for Painter Servant, thanks to the improvised cost. So this is basically our Chord of Calling that hits both of our combo pieces. So no matter what half of the combo we have in hand, Whir of Invention fills in and finds us the half that we're missing. We also have a bunch more artifacts, which help pay the Whir cost on Whir of Invention. Plus, they're also good targets for Whir of Invention in some situations. Pithing Needle takes care of a Planeswalker, any activated ability card sitting on the battlefield. Relic in the main deck can always cycle for just a mana. Also, deals with graveyards if we run into Dredge or Snapcaster. And then Spellskite is a way we can protect both of our combo pieces. Because if our opponent targets our Grindstone or our Painter Servant with an Abrupt Decay, with a Lightning Bolt, with a Swords to Plowshares, we can have Spellskite eat the removal spell instead. The rest of the deck is based on finding the combo and protecting the combo. So Brainstorm, Ponder help us dig through our deck, find our Grindstones, find our Painter Servants, find our Whir of Inventions, or find protection for them if we already have the combo. As far as protection, we got a bunch of different counters. Spell Pierce and Flusterstorm, super cheap, about as cheap as it gets. So if we need to tap out, or almost tap out, for one of our combo pieces, we can still protect our combo for just 1 mana. Counterspell gets anything for 2 mana, and then Force of Will, of course, really important not just to protecting our combo, forcing it through opposing counterspells and whatnot, but also a good way to stay alive against all the degenerate decks in Legacy. If someone's trying to combo off with Storm, Force of Will gives us a way to prevent that, even if we're all the way tapped out. We also have Back to Basics, which is essentially the blue Blood Moon, so to speak. Non-basic lands don't untap, so in some ways it's even more punishing than Blood Moon. Instead of making non-basics into red sources, it just makes them unusable altogether. And our deck can support this because we have a ton of islands, which is also why our deck is super cheap. If you look at our mana base, 12 basic islands, 4 Flooded Strands, which are there basically just for Brainstorm. Brainstorm is much better if we can shuffle away cards we don't want, so it's there for that purpose. In theory, if you want to go even more budget, you could go all islands, but it does weaken the Brainstorms. Ancient Tombs, a bit more acceleration, lets us play a Painter Servant on turn 1. If we have 2 of them, we can Grindstone activate on turn 2, about as fast as it gets as far as kills are concerned. And then Academy Ruins lets us get back pieces that might die to Lightning Bolts or whatnot from our graveyard if we need to. In the sideboard, we get a couple other cards that take advantage of the fact that we are playing Painter Servant. So Luan Cephalid Empress, super sweet. It bounces all blue creatures, and opponents can't play blue creature spells. So the trick here is we send our Painter Servant on blue, and then when Luan Cephalid Empress comes down, not only do we get rid of all of our opponent's creatures, they can't even recast them till they kill Luan. So if we're playing against a deck like Elves, it's looking to go wide with a bunch of cheap creatures, this is kind of our trump card in that situation. On the other hand, if we're in a controlling matchup, worried about Force of Wills, Disruption, we can set our Painter Servant on red and use Blue Elemental Blast is not only a 1 mana hard counter to anything in our opponent's deck, it can also blow up any permanent our opponent controls. And remember, it says red permanent, doesn't say non-land, so we can even just nuke a land for a single mana if we set our Painter Servant on red. Rest of the sideboard, Tormod's Crypt gives us some graveyard hate, works well with Improvise because it's a free artifact, so we can immediately improvise and gain a mana that way. Surgical, kind of targeted graveyard hate for Reanimator decks and so forth. Hope of Gurapur gives us a way to disrupt our opponent's counter, so if we're worried about our opponent somehow disrupting us with Force of Wills and counter spells and removal, if we can get in with Hope of Gurapur, we can sack it, and then we know during our second main phase, we're free to combo off because our opponent can't cast any non-creature spells. Dispel, further protection. Phyrexian Revoker and Ratchet Bomb give us a couple more good tutor targets for our Whir. Revoker essentially works like an additional Pithing Needle, and Ratchet Bomb lets us get rid of a whole board full of annoying tokens or non-creature permanents that our opponent might be using to disrupt us if we tick it up enough. Finally, we have Thopter Spy Network, which is kind of our backup sideboard win condition. So if we don't think our opponent is going to let us win with the combo, maybe they have too many Stony Silences, maybe they have too many Ley Lines of Sanctities, things that will keep us from being able to win with Grindstone, we can bring a Thopter Spy Network and just go wide with Thopter tokens, good in more controlling matchups, repeatable card advantage, draws us through our deck, super sweet sideboard option, and that is Mono Blue Painter for Legacy. And that's our instant deck tech for today, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.